Frozen fingers in the Lemay Forest in southern Winnipeg. This forest over my shoulder is at risk right now. The developers have been cutting down trees in this property, even though they don't have any approved plans for the region. The forest on this side, along the Red River, is City Park right now, and we want this forest added to it. The federal government, province of Manitoba, the city of Winnipeg, have all been working on a plan to preserve this with the Manitoba Habitat Conservancy, the Manitoba Métis Federation. Lots of folks have been working on trying to keep this forest from being cut down, like you can see directly behind me. Visit wildernesscommittee.org, learn how you can write a letter to the city and the province asking them to give this forest heritage status so that no more trees will come down.
We're here to preserve the Lemay Forest. We're at a municipal meeting in Winnipeg right now. The developer owner of this property is appealing their decision. The city has rejected their development plans. What's important to bring out today on this area is that the developer said all of the trees are going to come down. And we've also had the developer say that all of the graves in the area are going to be protected. The Lemay Forest is the site of the Aseel Rishot Cemetery, the orphanage that ran here for 40 years. We know that there are records of burials here, unmarked graves, and all of the big trees in this area are important. The graves make this forest sacred ground. So we are getting so many different stories from the developer, including them appealing the rejection of their plans. The plans that they're supporting right now will develop the whole area that is the old cemetery. Log on to the Wilderness Committee website, learn how to support the Lemay Forest, and together we're going to make this area protected and sacred for Winnipeg. I'm Eric, at a municipal meeting in Winnipeg for the Wilderness Committee.
The Lemay Forest is more than just a rare old woodland with 200-year-old trees. From 1904 to 1944, the Aseel Rishot Orphanage operated in this building. In addition to caring for children without parents, the orphanage also took in unmarried pregnant women. Health conditions 100 years ago meant there were many deaths in this building, and the Aseel Rishot Cemetery was located in the forest behind the orphanage. In December 2024, the burial site was put at risk as the landowner began chainsawing down the trees. The Indigenous community lit a ceremonial fire. This fire has been burning beside the Lemay Forest since then, through the bitter cold winter. Folks from First Nations, Métis, and from the wider community have been supporting the ceremony while we put our efforts into permanently protecting this forest and this resting place. Historical documents show more than 700 burial sites and more than 3,000 other deaths of unlisted burial locations. The large trees in the Lemay Forest should be hallowed ground, and the burial sites here make this site sacred. Visit wildernesscommittee.org and send a message to both the Manitoba government and the City of Winnipeg asking them to protect the Lemay Forest and this sacred site from development.
Did you know that the only thing keeping the big trees of the Lemay Forest standing is one citizen's private prosecution under the Cemeteries Act? And did you know that that court case is in court on February 20th? Most folks across the province have heard about the Lemay Forest. It's a hard campaign to bear witness to. Community members are under legal threat. Ongoing Indigenous ceremonies have been disrupted, and the unmarked burial sites around this forest are at imminent risk of destruction.
The Cemeteries Act private prosecution is the only reason that the trees of Lemay Forest are still standing. The owner's henchman has stated explicitly that all the trees would come down. Local citizen Louise May had to spend time and money to uphold provincial law to save this forest and the sacred burial sites. This shows that two things are missing. First, where is the government? Municipal, provincial, federal governments should be here, loudly proclaiming a path forward for this site. So where are they? Why do regular folks have to pay to fight big money developers? The second question is about government responsibility too. Where is the space for these important community conversations about the forest's future? The reason we can't hear the community's ideas instead of those for commercial development is because governments have been too timid. They're happy to watch 2 centuries of history be cut down rather than step forward and lead. Louise May wasn't too timid to stand for this forest. We're not going to sit back without making space for the community to hear the stories and make a decision on the Lemay Forest. Our first town hall is in March, where we will bring these voices to the public. Your place in all of this is to contact your elected officials. Contact them twice. Call them. Fill out an online petition. Send a personal letter. Write to the editors of the local news organizations. Your voice, just like Louise's legal action, is a crucial and necessary step to preserve Lemay Forest.
The trees remember, the earth remembers. Even as time moves forward, the whispers of 3,383 children still linger in the wind, and the sorrow of over 700 mothers still weep into the roots. This land is not just for soil and stone. It is a graveyard of stolen breaths, a sanctuary of unheard prayers. Yet, you would see it erased, paved over, and forgotten. We're asking you to join us on Saturday, March 22nd at 2 p.m. where we walk. We'll start at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. We carry their names, their stories, and their truths. For every child who never made it home, for every mother who cries went unanswered, and the forest that has held their memory when no one else would. Walk with us, speak for them, protect the sacred.
Premier of Manitoba and to the Mayor of Winnipeg. The Lemay Forest needs protection. The Lemay Forest is about 237-year-old trees. It's about the habitat for protected species like the pileated woodpecker. It's about spaces for Indigenous ceremony. It's the lodges that have been in the forest for more than 25 years, a sacred site. It's about the Métis history of the region, Louis Riel running through this area 100 years ago. And it's about the hard stuff, the care of kids at an orphanage, about residential school girls being impregnated and moved to this site. It's about perhaps the largest unmarked gravesite in Canada with the documented remains of 3,383 children in this forest. We're going to protect the Lemay Forest. We're going to need to see leadership from the Premier of Manitoba and the Mayor of Winnipeg. I'm Eric, on the ground at City Hall for the Wilderness Committee.
The Lemay Forest is not just 200-year-old trees, and it's not just a historical site that harkens back to Métis leader Louis Riel, and it's not just Indigenous sacred land with ceremonial lodges operating for decades. Each of these is a reason to preserve the forest, but the historical records of La Cille Richot, an orphanage and home for pregnant women, are telling the hard tale that we must reconcile. Early research by the Manitoba Historical Society has brought to light the connection between La Cille Richot and the residential school system that perpetuated genocide on Indigenous communities. More than 3,000 people died and were buried in this forest, likely making this the largest mass gravesite in the country. The final report on this is expected to be publicized soon. In December, when the owner began chainsawing down trees, the public and the government could be excused from knowing what was at risk. As of March 27th, the City of Winnipeg began hearings on expropriating the land, and the province is reviewing the Heritage Resources Board work needed to formally designate and protect this forest. In no way can the actions of the landowner Mazyar Yayapour and developer John Winthrop be considered supportive of the community. The truth of the forest needs to be brought to light and memorialized, not paved for profits. Over the next few months, the Wilderness Committee and the many organizations standing up for the forest will be hosting teach-ins. We have hard lessons to learn from this forest. Manitobans will grow as we protect the Lemay Forest as a memorial site.
Quick update from the ground in Lemay Forest. Saturday, April 12th, it is breeding bird season. The federal government has a calendar that says when breeding starts. It's mid-April till the end of August. We know with the south wind, the warm temperatures, the birds are back in the Lemay Forest. The forest is supposed to be preserved according to the landowner till April 15th, which is the date that the Private Prosecution on the Cemeteries Act was going to be resolved. It hasn't been resolved yet. It will be resolved in front of the judge, but the owner is saying he wants to start taking the trees down this weekend. The Lemay Forest needs to stand. The burial sites in this forest need to be preserved. This is sacred Indigenous territory. We don't believe that proper consultation has occurred. Visit the Wilderness Committee's website, send a letter to the provincial government, the federal government, the city, tell them to preserve the Lemay Forest. I'm Eric, on the ground in the Lemay Forest for the Wilderness Committee.
Really quick update from the Lemay Forest that you can see in the back behind me. The Premier stepped up and showed leadership. His team of Mr. Ian Bushy, Minister Nellie Kennedy, MLA Billy Cross, Premier Wab Kinew have announced that they're going to expropriate the Lemay Forest. The other good news I got when I came to the fire this afternoon is that the woman that had been picked up by the police for trying to stop the chainsaws this morning has been released. We're going to give you some more information on Tuesday as we learn it and can explain it more, but right now the Lemay Forest is saved by the actions of our Premier. I'm Eric on the ground for the Wilderness Committee at the Lemay Forest, which will soon be a protected sacred site.